Hello everyone. Today we'll discuss about the pons of the brainstem. Now first of all, in the brainstem we all know we have three basic structures, that is the midbrain, pons and medulla, and over here this is the pons. Now the pons is basically in the middle part of the brainstem and situated between the midbrain and the medulla. It lies in the posterior cranial fossa on the clavus. Clavus is actually a superior raised part in the basic occiput. Basic occiput is basically the structure between the occipital bone and the sphenoidal bone. So it is basically the superficial part, or we can say the raised part of the basic occiput bone, and it is present anterior to the cerebellum. The cerebellum, so it is present anterior to the cerebellum, this pons. Now on either side the pons is continuous as a middle cerebellar peduncle. We have basically three cerebellar peduncles, that is the superior, middle and the inferior. So on the either side of the pons is continuous as the middle cerebellar peduncle, thus forming a bridge between the two cerebral hemispheres. Hence its name is pons. Pons in the Latin word is known as the bridge. So it actually forms the bridge between the two cerebellar hemispheres by the way of middle cerebellar peduncle. Now the pons actually forms the upper half of the floor of the fourth ventricle. Structure of the pons consists of a grey and the white matter consisting number of nuclei and the fiber tract respectively. Now the external features, the pons has basically two surfaces, that is the ventral and dorsal surface, and two borders, that means the superior and the inferior borders. Now first of the ventral surface, this is the ventral surface. Over here this is the medulla oblongata, this is the pons. Okay, so over here this is the ventral or anterior surface of the pons. Now ventral surface is actually convex in both the directions, and also it is transversely striated due to the underlying pontocerebellar fibers. So these are the pontocerebellar fibers. Now in the median plane it presents a vertical groove known as the basilar groove or the basilar sulcus, okay, which lodges the basilar artery. Now the trigeminal nerve, over here this is the trigeminal nerve. These are the two roots of trigeminal nerve. So trigeminal nerve is attached to its surface by two roots, namely a small motor and a larger sensory root. Now remember, the motor root lies medial to the sensory root, as you can see. Now I told you before only that this pons actually elongates or continues on the either sides, on this either side as cerebellar peduncle or the middle cerebellar peduncles. So if we will draw a vertical line from this sensory root, we will draw a vertical line. So this will be junction between the pons and this is the middle cerebellar peduncle. So if we will draw a vertical line from here, so it will be junction between the pons and the middle cerebellar peduncle. Okay, now this is the side view of the brainstem, that is, this is the medulla oblongata, pons, and this is the cerebral peduncle. Now as you can see, the cerebral peduncle actually marks the junction between the midbrain and the cerebellar peduncle, or we can say the pons. Now caudally or on the lower part, that means over here, as you can see, there is a groove, shallow groove, and this groove actually marks the pontomedullary junction. So on superior side, this cerebral peduncle actually marks the junction between the midbrain and the pons, and at the caudal of the lower side, this pontomedullary junction actually demarcates or forms a shallow groove between the medulla and the pons. Now in this shallow groove, we have some structures going from medial to the lateral side. So it will be clearly visible from the ventral view. As you can see over here, this is the medulla and this is the pons. So in the pontomedullary junction groove from medial to the lateral side, as you can see, there first of the abducent nerve, or we can say the sixth cranial nerve, then the facial nerve or the seventh cranial nerve. Then this is the nervus intermedius, and this is the vestibulocochlear nerve or the eighth nerve emerges. Now this is the dorsal surface or dorsal view of the pons. Okay, now the dorsal surface of the pons is covered by the cerebellum. As you can see over here, this is the cerebellum, or this is the cut section of this. We have removed the cerebellum. So over here, this pons on the dorsal side is actually fully covered by the cerebellum over here. And remember, this pons and the cerebellum are separated from each other, or is separated from it by the cavity of the fourth ventricle. The dorsal surface of the pons is triangular in the structure or in shape, and forms the upper part of the floor of the fourth ventricle. Okay, now some structure in the dorsal surface. First of all, as you can see, this is the median sulcus and this is the median eminence. Okay, now over here this is the locus coeruleus. Now what is locus coeruleus? This is actually nucleus in the pons of the brainstem involved with the physiological responses to stress and the pain. Now it is a part of reticular activating system, this locus coeruleus. Now next is the facial colliculus. Now facial colliculus, as you can see, is an elevated area located on the dorsal pons in the floor of the fourth ventricle, and it is formed by the fibers from the motor nucleus of the facial nerve as they loop over the abducens nucleus. Now this is the superior fovea. this is the sulcus limitans. Over here this is the vestibular area, and this is the stria medulla. Now this stria medulla actually divides or separates the medulla from the pons. Now next are the superior and the inferior border of the pons. Now this is the superior border. Now this superior border is actually attached to the cerebral peduncles, as you can see. Now superior cerebellar artery curve along this border, intervening between the oculomotor and the trochlear nerve. So remember, over here we have superior cerebellar artery curve along this border. Now next is inferior border. This is the inferior border. Now this inferior border, upper end of the medulla is continuous with the border, as you can see. Now the anterior inferior cerebellar artery curve around this border. So remember, over here the superior cerebellar artery, and over here the anterior inferior cerebellar artery curves around the border. Now the internal structure of the pons. Now as you can see over here, this is the cut section from the pons. Okay, and this over here we have divided the internal structure of pons into two different parts, that is the basilar part and the tegmental part, and for the tegmental into caudal and the cranial. Now first of all, this is the basilar part, or we can say the large ventral or the basilar part, and over here this is the small dorsal or the tegmental part. Okay, and because this tegmental part is not same in the whole length of the pons, so that's why we have divided the pons into divided the tegmental part of the pons in basically two different parts, that is the caudal and the cranial part. We will study this particularly, right? But this basilar part is actually the same in the whole pons. First of the basilar part or the ventral large part. Now over here, as you can see, this is the basilar part, and on the either side it is continuous as or continuous with the middle cerebellar peduncle, and inferiorly it is actually continuous with the pyramids of the medulla, while this tegmental part is, or we can say dorsal part, is direct upward continuation of the medulla excluding the pyramid. So this basilar part continues inferiorly with the pyramid of the medulla, while this tegmental part is a direct continuation of the main medulla excluding the pyramids. Now first of all, we discuss about the basilar part. Now this basilar part is actually composed of the, as you can see, the longitudinal bundles or the longitudinal bundle of fibers, the transverse fibers, and the pontine nuclei. These are, as you can see, this black structure, these black dots are the pontine nuclei. So basically it has basically three structures: longitudinal fibers, transverse fibers, and the nuclei, or we can say the pontine nuclei. Now first of all, the longitudinal fibers. The longitudinal bundle of fibers includes the corticopontine, corticonuclear, and the corticospinal fibers. Okay, corticonuclear, corticospinal, and the corticopontine fibers. Now the corticopontine fiber relay in the ipsilateral pontine nuclei. The corticonuclear fiber terminate in the contralateral motor nuclei of the cranial nerve, and the corticospinal fiber converge towards the lower part of the pons and form the pyramid of the medulla. So we have three different fibers of the bundle of the longitudinal bundle, that is the corticopontine, corticonuclear, and the corticospinal. So simply remember, the corticopontine relay in the ipsilateral or the same side pontine nuclei. The corticonuclear fiber terminates in the contralateral, means opposite side we can say, motor nuclei of the cranial nerves, and the corticospinal fibers converge downward the lower part of the pons and forms the, we can say, pyramid of the medulla, because in the inferior part this basilar part actually continues with the pyramid of the medulla only. Now transverse fiber, these are the transverse pontocerebellar fibers. Now they basically arise in the pontine nuclei only and cross, these are the pontine nuclei, as you can see, these are the pontine nuclei. So they actually arises in the pontine nuclei and cross the opposite side, as you can see, they cross the opposite side to form the middle cerebellar peduncle. They form the middle cerebellar peduncle, remember. So these are pontocerebellar fiber. The middle cerebellar peduncle were we discussed about these were the cerebellar peduncles, and the middle one is for basically for the pons, especially for the pons. So this middle cerebellar peduncles are actually, they are basically formed by the transverse fiber that actually arises in the pontine nuclei and cross the opposite side, and they basically form the middle cerebellar peduncles. Now the pontine nuclei, these are the pontine nuclei, and they are scattered among the longitudinal and the transverse fiber. Now the pontine nuclei form an important part of the cortico-pontocerebellar pathway, which connects the cerebral cortex of the one side to the cerebellar hemisphere of the opposite side. So remember, cerebral cortex of one side is connected with the cerebellar hemisphere of the opposite side by the means of cortico-pontocerebellar pathway, in which these pontine nuclei plays an important part. Now next is the tegmental part or the small dorsal part. Now this small dorsal part actually contains ascending and descending fibers, or we can say ascending and descending tract, and also contain a decussation of transversely running fibers. You can see these fibers are transversely running. Okay, and this part is known as the trapezoid body. It also contains the nuclei of the trigeminal nerve, then the nuclei of the abducent nerve, nuclei of the motor nucleus, we can say motor nucleus of the facial nerve, and the nuclei of the vestibular cochlear nerve. Now since the structure of the tegmentum differs in the upper and the lower, that means the cranial and the caudal parts, so of course we have to study these both parts differently. So first of all, the TS done at the level of the lower part of the pons or the caudal part of the pons. Now first of all, this is the caudal part only, we discuss about this. Now the transverse section through the lower part of the caudal part of the pons passes through the facial colliculi. Remember, it basically passes through the facial colliculi. Now this is the facial colliculi. Now I told you before only in the previous slide that this is the facial colliculi. This facial colliculi actually the raised part or the elevated part of this pons. Okay, so the TS of the caudal part is basically done from the facial colliculus part of the pons. Now tegmentum at this level basically comprises of some features. That is, first of all we will discuss about the grey matter. Now in the grey matter, the caudal part actually comprises some nucleus, that is the abducent nucleus, and the facial nucleus, the sensory nucleus of the trigeminal nerve, vestibular cochlear nucleus. Now the abducent nerve, this is the abducent nerve, and this is the nucleus of the abducent nerve. The abducent nerve nucleus lies beneath the facial colliculus. This is the facial colliculus, so it lies basically beneath the facial colliculus in the floor of the fourth ventricle, just lateral to the medial longitudinal bundle. This is the medial longitudinal bundle, so it is present actually just next, or we can say just lateral to the medial longitudinal bundle. Now next is the motor nucleus of the facial nerve. Over here, this is the motor nucleus of the facial nerve, and this actually lies ventrolateral to the abducent nucleus. And the fibers of facial nerve first wind around, as you can see, it first of all wind round the abducent nucleus, producing the facial colliculus. Okay, they actually wind around the abducent nucleus, forming the producing the facial colliculus, then passes anteriorly between the facial nucleus and the nucleus of the spinal tract of the trigeminal nerve. So just remember, this facial nerve actually arises from the facial nucleus or the motor nucleus of the facial nerve, and then it passes and winds around the abducent nucleus, forming the facial colliculus, and then passes in between or goes anteriorly in between the facial nucleus and the spinal nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. Now one more thing, medial to this nucleus of the facial nerve, we have three more nuclei, that is the superior salivatory, inferior salivatory, and the lacrimatory nuclei. Now lateral to this superior salivatory nucleus, there is nucleus of tractus solitarius. And now next is the vestibular cochlear nucleus. These two are the vestibular cochlear nuclei. Now this nuclei lies beneath the vestibular area in the floor of the fourth ventricle. Now next at the cochlear nuclei, we have two cochlear nuclei, that is the dorsal and the ventral, lying dorsal and the ventral part of the inferior cerebral peduncle. Inferior cerebral peduncle is present on the sides of the medulla oblongata. Now next is the spinal nuclei and the tract of trigeminal nerve. Now they are basically present or located on the anteromedial aspect of the inferior cerebral peduncle. Now next is the white matter of the caudal part of the pons. Now over here we have some structure, that is first of all the trapezoid body. Now trapezoid body actually contains transverse fibers decussing with each other. Trapezoid body. Now we have over here two large lemnisci, that means the medial and the spinal lemnisci. Over here we have spinal tract of trigeminal nerve also. Over here in the middle we are having the medial longitudinal bundle and small extrapyramidal and autonomic tracts. Now first of all, trapezoid body. Now, this trapezoid body is a trapezium shaped mass of white fibers lying in the anterior part of the tegmentum, just posterior to the basilar part of the pons. This is the basilar part. So just posterior to the basilar part we have the trapezoid body of the tegmental part. It is basically formed by decussation of transversely running fibers arising from the cochlear nuclei of the both sides. So the fibers over here actually arising from the cochlear nuclei over here. So fibers from here will arise over here, will go over here and will decussate with each other, forming the trapezoid body. Now next is the medial lemnisci. This is the medial lemnisci. Now as you can see over here, this is actually elongated in the long structure, and this medial lemnisci actually rotates as it passes from the medulla to the pons. Okay, and it is actually situated in the most anterior part of the tegmentum with its long axis running transversely. Now the medial lemniscus rotates in such a way that the fibers from the nucleus cuneatus are medial to those from the nucleus gracilis. Normally the nucleus gracilis is medial and the nucleus cuneatus is lateral, but this medial lemniscus rotates in such a way that the fibers from the nucleus cuneatus becomes medial to the nucleus gracilis. And the somatotropic representation is there for neck, arm, trunk and legs in a medial to the lateral sequence. Now the spinal lemniscus, this is spinal lemniscus. Now this lemniscus lies lateral to the medial lemniscus, of course, and occupies the same peripheral position as in the medulla. Now the medial longitudinal bundle occupies a paramedian position in the most posterior part. The tectospinal tract, this is tectospinal tract, are located ventral to the medial longitudinal bundles, and the spinal tract of trigeminal nerve, this is the spinal tract of trigeminal nerve over here, and it basically lies lateral and dorsal to the motor nucleus of the facial nerve. This is the motor nucleus, so it basically lies on the dorsal and the lateral aspect of this facial nerve. Now the spinal tract of trigeminal nerve, now this basically lies lateral and dorsal to the motor nucleus of the facial nerve. Now next is the transverse section at the cranial part of the pons. This is the cranial part of the pons. Now this cranial part is basically taken or passes through the trigeminal nuclei. It basically passes from the trigeminal nuclei, while in the caudal part it was passing from the fasciculus colliculus. But over here the cranial part is this transverse section actually passes from the trigeminal nuclei. Now tegmentum at this level, as you can see, it is having a small cavity of fourth ventricle, and this cavity of fourth ventricle is bounded on the dorsolateral side on the either side by the superior cerebellar peduncle, and it is actually roofed by the superior medullary velum. Now first of all, the grey matter of the cranial part of the pons. Now the grey matter actually comprises of the, as you can see, the motor nucleus of the trigeminal nerve and the main sensory nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. Now previously we were having the, in the caudal part we were having the abducens nerve, facial nerve and the vestibulocochlear nerve nucleus, right? But over here these three are missing, and also the trapezoid body and the nuclei are also not clearly visible at the cranial part of the pons. Now first of all, this motor nucleus of trigeminal nerve is basically situated in the dorsolateral part beneath the lateral part of the fourth ventricle, and the emerging motor fiber travels anterior to the substance of the pons and exit on the anterior surface of the pons, as you can see. Okay, now next is the main sensory nucleus of trigeminal nerve. Now this main nerve, or the principal nerve we can say, is actually situated lateral to the motor nucleus of trigeminal nerve, and caudally it continues with the nucleus of the spinal tract trigeminal nerve, and rostrally with the mesencephalic nuclei of the trigeminal nerve. Now the white matter. The white matter at this level consists of the same ascending tract as they were in the lower or the caudal part. Okay, but over here, as you can see in the ventral part of the tegmentum, this is tegmentum. So the ventral part of the tegmentum that is posterior to the basilar part actually consists of few lemnisci, and these are basically 4 in number. Okay, from the medial to the lateral side, they are medial lemnisci, trigeminal lemnisci, spinal and the lateral lemnisci. Now as you can see, this is the lateral lemnisci, and this lateral lemnisci is well formed over here at this part, and the spinal lemnisci is present in between the trigeminal and the lateral lemnisci. Now the trigeminal lemnisci, as you can see over this trigeminal lemnisci, consists of the trigeminothalamic fiber and is also seen between the medial and the spinal lemnisci. Now in the blood supply of the pons, we have numerous pontine branches from the basilar artery and anterior inferior cerebellar artery. So this was all about the pons. Hope you understood it well. Thank you so much.